fun pricing structure. Hello everybody and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will and today we're going to be talking about the news that ORCPUB, the online D&D 5e character builder and generator, is officially no longer going to exist. It's being taken down, it's dying, and there's some news about that which I think we should discuss. I think there's a couple of points that we can talk about here regarding ORCPUB. Now, I've reached out to Larry Christensen, who is the guy behind ORCPUB, and we had a exchange of DMs on Twitter regarding this. And of course, I'm going to be talking about those. He's allowed me to share those completely, and also we're going to be taking a look at some of the other statements that we can find online on Reddit and on Kickstarter. First of all, if you don't know what ORCPUB is, it is, or I suppose was, a online character generator. It was free for use, and they also had ORCPUB 2, which is a fantastic character generator. I have pointed towards it a great deal of times here on the channel. It's my primary tool that I use to create character sheets online, and there's a lot of things about the website that I admired and appreciated during its survival. I know at the time of recording that the website is still up, but I don't think it will be up for very much longer. I think it's going to be a matter of days, if a week, before we see the website get taken down. So this may not be relevant in a couple of months' time. But here we go. So I got the email this morning about 6 a.m. when I tweeted the news, and this is what the ORCPUB Kickstarter said. Now, the ORCPUB mobile Kickstarter, we'll talk about itself in a little bit, but this is the message. I'm very sorry to announce I have to cancel this campaign. I'll be shutting down ORCPUB.com and ORCPUB2.com very soon as well. I may reuse the infrastructure to support other games, we'll see. Sorry about any inconvenience this causes. I hope everyone understands I had nothing but good intentions to help grow and strengthen the 5e community. I poured my heart and soul into ORCPUB and received very little in return. This initially confused me. I thought that maybe it was a funding issue to do with the Kickstarter that we're on here, but as you can see, they had plenty of days to go, and Larry is very close to getting the goal with over 1,000 backers. They're at almost 22,000 out of 25,000 on this goal. It didn't seem like it was going to be funding for the project itself. I looked back in a previous update, and he'd mentioned this. Sorry if I have not been responsive as I should have been for the past few days. I'm dealing with a devastating familial tragedy at the moment, but I will get back to you all very soon. I'm still 100% dedicated to this project if you are. Thanks for understanding. That was my initial next thought, that maybe this was due to a family tragedy, which is completely understandable, and that seemed like a reasonable assumption to make, that maybe on reflection the creator needed some time for personal space and reflection. And I think that during this whole conversation we should be very aware that the person who is created behind this project and put thousands of hours of work behind the project, no matter what you think of what's happened, has very, very recently lost a very close personal family member. And so I can only imagine that this news, compounded upon that, is a real conflux of terrible news. So I would ask that we all have some respect regarding not only the work, but also the person behind this. The real answer as to why ORCPUB is closing down isn't the funding, and it isn't the personal side. Revealed on Reddit and also some DMs that I'll show to you guys. The update is from Larry. Sorry, I should have mentioned this due to legal issues. I don't want to go into more detail because I don't want to open myself to further issues. This was posted on the Reddit, D&D Next Reddit, right? Probably a lot of you guys have seen this post, and it seems to have been circulated that yes, it is about legal issues regarding this. So what is the legal issue with ORCPUB? And why is this happening now, I suppose? Two questions we can ask ourselves. The first thing that immediately jumped to my mind when it says legal issues is that it was going to be a problem with non-SRD content. For those of you who aren't familiar, there's the Open Gaming License allows you as a creator to use certain assets of D&D 5e and not all of them. You can find the full breadth of what that means on Wizard's website, but it is something, if you are a creator, particularly now, to be incredibly aware of. And here's where I can see a couple of problems that ORCPUB ran into. Not only on the mobile Kickstarter itself, which if we go to this page here, you can see included or promised to include non-SRD content. Right, we would like to keep ORCPUB free as it's been for 2 years, but in order to continue, here's what the pricing will look like. The basic app with SRD and ads would be free. However, if you wanted to get non-SRD content, you would pay for it at a incredibly low price, right? I, in fact, was a backer of this Kickstarter, and for whatever reason, it simply didn't occur to me that ORCPUB maybe didn't have a license for this. I presumed with the boldness with which the content was being sold that there was a legal precedent to do so. I hadn't really looked into ORCPUB's, whether or not they were official partner or not. I assumed that they had some kind of license, and yeah, they don't, basically. The basic issue is that you don't have the legal right to not only promise to sell these things, but also to have them free on your website as it is, right? Because Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, I can use all the stuff from Curse of Strahd, I can use even Unearthed Arcana stuff, Volo's Guide to Monsters for free on ORCPUB2.com. And that, unfortunately, is not under the SRD content, right? So that's the issue, basically. There was assets being used and also promised to being used in a Kickstarter, which may have drawn more attention to it, that weren't allowed to be used. I think if we're talking in terms of legality purely, I think Wizards have a right to police their copyright, right? This is their content. They do sell it, and someone else is offering it for free. I can understand that that can be an issue for a company. However, I don't want to see like I'm just coming out on Wizards' side in this. This is a DM I got from ORCPUB. I reached out earlier this morning. Larry said, "Hi Will, thank you. Essentially what happened is that I was informed that WotC took issue with my inclusion of non-SRD content. Since I wasn't using any of the actual copy from non-SRD sources, I thought I wasn't violating copyright. I also thought that ORCPUB was helping to grow the game enough that WotC would appreciate it. It appears that at least one of these assumptions is wrong, and I have neither the will nor the legal team to investigate the issue further. With just the SRD, ORCPUB is very little use to anyone and does not justify the server costs. I might keep one of the two sites running and focus on homebrew or investigate other game users might find useful and whose creators would be willing to license with me. Whatever the future holds, I am dealing with the loss of my twin brother, so I only have time at the moment to put out any legal fires. This means shutting down ORCPUB, temporarily at least." And also, I asked Larry if it was okay if I shared this with him. He said, "Please do share, it will help a lot. I hope I haven't said anything that might be getting into more trouble with WotC. I'm sure this won't get him into more trouble," explaining the situation and what happened. And of course, he has complied with what they have asked of him. So this confirms that it was the non-SRD sources that are the issue with probably the Kickstarter, and probably looked at the website as well and thought, hey, this isn't okay. Larry, ORCPUB said that they didn't think that they were violating copyright, and mentioned before that his heart was in the right place, he didn't mean to hurt anyone. It seems like, and from based on the 2 years of this website being free to use, seems genuine to me, right? However, I think it maybe was a little bit naive to think that Wizards wouldn't aggressively defend their copyright and their IP. They do have a history of as a lot of big companies do, of, pretty ruthlessly defending their copyright, which I have to say, as a company who own the copyright, they do have the legal right to do. They're not in the wrong in terms of the law here, right? They can do this and be justified in doing so in the eyes of the law. However, I do think that it's a big shame. I thought ORCPUB was the #1 tool out there, and I think probably that was its problem. Not to fire too many shots more at Beyond than I already have fucking fired at them. The timing of this move does coincide fairly nicely with the launch of D&D Beyond, and with Beyond's fun pricing structure. Free websites like ORCPUB, it seems like what they've done is said, well, we need D&D Beyond to succeed, so we are going to have to get rid of ORCPUB. Now, I don't know specifically as the timing of when these option sources came out. I am not entirely clear on whether or not this stuff was always here in terms of Volo's Guide, Curse of Strahd, and the Unearthed Arcana stuff, which I can see being a problem with Xanathar's Guide coming out. I remember the Unearthed Arcana always being there. I can't recall if this was always here, so correct me if these haven't always been here. Maybe these option sources only came in recently, within the past, few weeks, along with the Kickstarter, and that's why they did it. But also the Kickstarter, of course, must have raised the attention of Wizards, and they realized that this isn't okay. Someone is making money off our work, I suppose. The issue here ultimately is that the content which you're allowed to sell under the Open Gaming License is fine, but there was materials that were not in that license which were being sold as well, which, even though they had the best of intentions, it ultimately is illegal, right? It's also my understanding in the legal world that a cease and desist is the polite way of doing it. I know some people have said, wouldn't it have been great if they just said, right, you can't do ORCPUB, but you clearly have talent, come work with us or come collaborate with us on something like that. I think that maybe is a little bit idealistic. It doesn't seem like they're the kind of company to need to do that, right? And they have the Curse team working on Beyond as it is. So that would have been nice, but I think the cease and desist is probably one of the nicer things they could have done, right? Because if you're Wizards in that situation, that's probably just what they do, like that's probably just auto mode, like, right, someone's taking our copyright. We won't take that back. And as he mentioned, he may keep the website open as a free tool of just SRD stuff. And I understand that that's limited. I do understand that that's limited. But I would encourage those of you who have supported ORCPUB to stick behind it. I mean, not only is a guy going through an awful time, but, basically what it is a mistake. You made a mistake. And whilst in the eyes of the law that doesn't really matter, I think we can all sympathise with the fact that ultimately ORCPUB was a great tool set. ORCPUB was free for several years and offered versatility and a set of tools that we weren't offered by Wizards of the Coast. And for that I have to thank Larry, I have to thank ORCPUB for the work that they put in. I think it is a shame that all that work is being taken away, and I also see the other side of the argument as well. Basically how I feel is just a bit sad, really. It's going to be such a shame if ORCPUB does go, and I would love there still to be just an SRD only ORCPUB out there. If you guys feel the same, then let me know. If you feel like there's no point now and just to go to Beyond, then that's okay. A little part of me, that kind of rebellious part of me that doesn't really like D&D Beyond because of fun pricing structure, kind of wants to say fuck Wizards, but I don't. I get it. It's just like the sad truth. I understand why the decision was made. The copyright was breached, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna pay Wizards of the Coast for D&D Beyond. Like just because fun pricing structure. I don't mean to turn this into any crusade, I'm not, god damn it, Wizards, bring back our ORCPUB. I would love an SRD free and only ORCPUB to remain as it had been in the past. Either way, for me, this is a bit of a sad situation. I really enjoyed ORCPUB. I enjoyed the ethos of ORCPUB. I admired its toolset, and I admired the fact that it was free to use and didn't seem about making fun pricing structure. That much I very much, believe behind the team. They weren't looking to steal a bunch of money. They did seem like they had their hearts in the right place. Ultimately, it seemed like they thought that it wouldn't have been a problem, and maybe that was a little bit naive to think that Wizards wouldn't aggressively pursue their IP. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Either way, let me know your comments down below, and of course subscribe for more.